72 kilometers. What inspired you to walk 72 kilometers, first of all?
What's this one thing I can do that success is purely on my hands?
Yeah.
Whether it succeeds or fails, it's purely on me.
Yeah.
You don't have that privilege in business, by the way.
Yeah, you don't.
Hey, you can wait on people. Hey, boss, kumenda aje?
Yeah.
Kimeumana.
Yeah.
You know? But I had enough of that. And I was like, I want to do something that success will purely rely on me. And if you're the kind of person who holds that kind of value for running away from things,
Yeah.
you'll attract someone who will run away from things. And eventually you'll both run away from whatever it is that you have. But when you attract someone who believes that it must work, it will work, and there's no door out.
Yeah. In 2018, what made you decide to change or to choose a path of salvation?
I was going to die.
Okay.
I was going to die.
Yeah.
Literally, my motto, I spoke it into existence.
So the power of the tongue.
Power of the tongue.
Yeah.
And we really need to watch what we say.
Yeah. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Just to Kick It is a Blessing podcast. Welcome to the podcast where it's all about time, where we teach, inspire, motivate, and entertain through the art of storytelling. Today, I have a special guest in studio with me. So without further ado, I will let him introduce himself.
Wow. Pleasure to be here.
Yes.
I'll start by saying that. My name is Joshua Tiampati. In introducing myself, I've had to think of the most important things in my life that define me. I'll start by saying I'm a child of God.
Okay.
Born again, I love the Lord. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have had several entrepreneurial experiences.
Yes.
And still running a few organizations here and there. I am a fiance, soon to be married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I love playing football. I'm also a Chelsea fan. Yes.
Chelsea. I can't talk so much. I'm a Manchester United fan.
Hey, don't talk.
I think we're struggling a lot more than you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for, gracing the invite. And I know it was such a last minute thing. So for you to sacrifice some time and be here really means a lot to all of us, Yeah, but to you, your story is filled with resilience, reinvention, purpose. But if you could describe it in one sentence, what would it be and why?
I would say persistence pays. Persistence pays. That's what I would say.
And why?
And why? Mm-hmm. Why? Because I'll give you an analogy.
Yes.
I'm in the mining sector. Mm-hmm. And we mine gold, we mine all sorts of things in this sector. Now, you might be mining and you sunk a shaft that is maybe 20 meters deep.
Yeah.
And you're going and you're finding nothing.
Yes.
Little do you know, just one more strike with your pick can get you the gold.
Yes.
Or just on your left or on your right.
Yeah.
The gold lies there. So I'd say persistence pays, and it's something that I have experienced in my own journey.
Yeah.
Something I saw in my own walk of faith as well. Mm-hmm. Persistence pays. Yeah.
Okay. When you look back in your life, take us back to a life-defining moment that has led to the person that sits on this seat today.
Wow. So my life has been tumultuous from the start. And I think every human being has had an interesting kind of story. I mean, Either it's losing a loved one, a parent when they're young, or that kind of thing. And they all shape who you become. But I'd say the one defining moment was, of course, me coming to a life of salvation and knowing the Lord.
Yeah.
Before that, and this was in 2018, July.
Yeah.
Before that, I was heavily, and when I say heavily, I mean heavily,
Yeah.
heavily addicted to drugs
Yeah.
and substance abuse,
Yeah.
and all sorts of vices. Now, I'm not one to judge one who is still there,
Yes.
but I'd say that the coming out of that really transformed how I look at life
Yeah.
and the value of life. So in high school, when I graduated high school, I only had one kind of purpose, one kind of motto. And when I look at it now, and I'm just like, this guy, if I
Yeah.
could speak to my younger self, I'd
Yeah.
be like, wake up.
Yeah.
I was just like, get high and die. That was my motto.
Wow.
And so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'd find myself, I stay in Ridgeways.
Yeah.
I'd find myself crossing Thika Superhighway
Yeah.
when cars are flying at 100. Only to just go over to the other side, somewhere there's like a peddler
Yeah.
who has,
Yes.
I do crazy things. I do crazy things. But the realization when I left that life
Yeah.
was so great that everything changed. Everything changed. I saw myself differently. I knew that I was capable to do so much more. My life meant so much more than just getting high and dying.
Yes.
That was that real, I'd say, defining moment in my life that has made me who I am today, who you can see.
Yeah. A lot of people use such moments to, define them. So how did you break away from that cycle of using those moments to define you and rewrite your story?
So I'd say this. Stories are dynamic.
Yeah.
And just one single piece of the story can transform the whole story altogether.
Yes.
It being my defining moment has meant that it is also like my guiding light. When I walk into rooms, I walk with that kind of understanding of who I am.
Yeah.
I'd say another potentially defining moment is pain.
Yes.
Pain shapes you. Pain really sharpens you, especially as a man. If you go through a heartbreak, for example, as a man, men, we should not be, according to us, we should not be heartbroken.
That's true.
But hey, you can be heartbroken.
Yeah.
This
podcast, part of it started from heartbreak.
Excellent.
You see.
Excellent. Sometimes you need a driving factor, and it comes in the form of pain. My first company that I properly founded, properly meaning fully registered,
Yes.
was out of a period of pain. And I wanted to prove a point. That business has failed.
Yes.
But still, the character that has come out of it is alive till now, So I don't know if I've answered your question, but I think these defining moments, they shape your identity. And I'd say also another key defining moment is pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on the pain aspect. And I think I was watching a TikTok the other day that said a man has to go through certain stages in life to discover who he is. And I think it's the one for where he loses his real friends.
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreak, loss of a loved one, and zero bob in their bank account. And, those are life-changing moments. But I also agree with what she says is there's a lot of people that I've spoken to on this podcast, and they have the same kind of story where the pain that they've gone through has transformed them.
Yeah.
And I don't like to glorify pain, but, pain can be a teacher. It can be the
yes.
greatest motivator, But through your journey, what in 2018, what made you decide to change or to choose a path of salvation?
I was going to die.
Okay.
I was going to die.
Yeah.
Literally, my motto,
Yeah.
I spoke it into existence.
Wow. So the power of the tongue.
Power of the tongue.
Yeah.
And we really need to watch what we say.
Yeah.
So I'd flaunt this motto of mine, get high and die. I felt like, 50 Cent, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
I'm not that old, by the way. But like that kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So let me just give you perspective. January 18th, 2018,
Yes.
I found myself admitted at Gertrude's Hospital
Okay.
because I had overdosed on pills.
Wow.
I had taken, should I say?
Yeah.
I had taken pills called benzodiazepams,
Yeah.
Cosmos,
Yeah.
the street name.
Yeah.
And I had taken, I think, about five
Wow.
of them. One of them makes you lightheaded, semi-autopilot.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Two,
You're tweaking.
100% of one. You're tweaking.
Yeah.
When you get to the regions of 3, 4,
Yeah.
now you start to see your own things.
Wow.
You start to hallucinate.
Yeah.
So I remember I left class. I was in Riara University. And universities, that's another story. There's a joke we used to make that, this school is a drug-free zone. We used to switch the drug and the free around.
So it's a free
drug school.
Yeah.
So I left class. I left my bag, left my phone in class, stood up and walked. Next thing I know, I'm close to the airport. How I got there, I don't know.
What?
I am in a mat and the conductor is saying, "You've not paid." Me, I'm convinced. I've paid. These drugs have told me I've paid.
Yeah.
I've paid. They're like, "Remove this guy.
Yeah.
Throw me outside." Boda guys, they always want to get involved in whatever is happening. Mtu hajalipa nini.
Yeah.
And then I'm thrown around. So me, self-defense kicks in.
Yeah.
I swing.
Yeah.
And I hit the conductor. Wey, what are people say? Watafuta tire. Wapi tire? Yeah.
Yeah.
Some woman, a good Samaritan, jumps out of the bus for me. And this is how I know God was protecting me.
Yeah.
She says, "This is my brother. Don't touch him." Takes money from her own pocket, gives these guys.
Yeah.
And gives them and says, "Here." He gives even extra.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, that's the story of the Good Samaritan. Mm-hmm. She runs with me. I'm on that Utawala Road, North Airport Road, and I see a car, and I automatically think, that's my uncle. I chase it alongside the road.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a car.
Yeah.
I won't reach it.
Yeah.
But this woman still runs. She has my mizigos like this to chase after me. Then I stop at a kibanda selling cigarettes. I have a full packet in my pocket.
Yeah.
But I've forgotten.
Yes.
I'm like, I need, let me get.
Yeah.
I buy another full packet.
Yeah.
Hallucinating. She eventually catches up. We go to the stage where there are empty mathries. She asks the conductor, "Let him just sit in here."
Yeah.
So I can help him.
Yeah.
They agree. She gets a number from me, one of my friends. My friend calls my sister calls my folks. They arrive in like 20 to 30 minutes there.
Yeah.
And I'm walking up to them until like a distance of 2 meters.
Yeah.
I'm smoking a cigarette. When I get to that 2 meter distance, is when I realize, these are my parents.
Yeah.
I throw the cigarette. So I was hallucinating.
Yeah.
I was hallucinating. They said this young man cannot go home. We must take him somewhere.
Yeah.
He can get help. Get to a children's hospital. It's a children's hospital. I have a small brother. I hallucinate. I see every child is my small brother. So I'm wondering, where are you taking my small bro? Where are you going? Until there was like, so my dad had to now explain to these guys, in the side,
Yeah.
he's
He's going. Yeah.
going nuts.
Yeah.
He'd hide and say that he's going nuts.
Yeah.
And long story short, I stayed there 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I never learned my lesson. I said, I slipped up,
Yeah.
I slipped up.
Yeah.
So I put that to the side. I said, hey, Benzos, hey, let me just keep the kando kidogo.
Yes.
I'll continue smoking
Yeah.
weed and cigarettes and drinking, of course. Now, the turning point happened in July of that year, where I went for my cousin's graduation in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin, I'll give you just really how he is. He's born again. He's saved. He got first class honors.
Wow.
In Brunel University of London. And he's just a top gent. When I saw him like this, it was like a mirror. But looking at a mirror, on the other side, your reflection is now a dirty, sorry state.
Yeah.
That brought me to my knees. I cried, I wept, because I'm like, gosh, like, this is the kind of life I could have.
Yeah.
I was in and out of cells, getting arrested. You, I don't know if it has changed. You arrive in Westlands within 15 minutes.
You're in a cell.
You're in a cell. You wonder, hey, you're sober. I was just living a life that is just so hopeless, so desperate.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, my heart really just wept for itself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, boss, I'm tired. We are all tired.
Yeah.
Let's change things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really the journey that I took.
Yeah.
And now coming to the Lord, I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends. But I didn't care.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I didn't care because one thing you'll realize, friends match match your energy and match the season you're in.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah. So friendship is a great thing. I think the concept of it is really good. But sometimes if you're not aligned, if your friendships are not aligned with the kind of life you want to live, there'll always be friction. There'll always be friction. And it's for you to decide. And loneliness is not such a bad thing. In fact, in times of loneliness is when you gain clarity and you see for yourself that, yeah, actually, this is not the kind of life I want to live. I want to do better for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came back from the UK. Then what happened after that? Did you just immediately stop everything, or what happened now?
Yeah, so it was a journey.
Yeah.
I stopped,
Yeah.
actually. In the UK, I remember the night before I traveled, I was high.
Yeah.
I got the highest I think I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like all my stash
Yeah.
that I had,
Yeah.
I cleared it.
Yeah.
Hey, Buana. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I finished it and I just went, and that was the last time I touched. But so along the way, actually, and I think this is also part of the journey.
Yeah.
So I cut off completely everything.
Yeah.
And cutting off means cutting off also the linkages to those things.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
the most important part.
Yes.
Yeah.
The access routes. So that's the friends. That is the places you'd go to. So my life became school, church, school, church, school, church,
Yeah.
school, church. Eventually I built friends within the church. friends who liked playing football.
Yeah.
And that's something I love doing, you know. And slowly our friendship grew, and my time with them influenced also the kind of person I became.
Yeah.
I am. Unfortunately, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah, it's not.
And with marathons, you can trip,
Yes.
you can slip,
Yeah.
but you keep going on because the race is not complete. This journey, you stop fighting the day you stop breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you said it. Like, of course, you'll fall.
Yeah.
There's none that's perfect. Yeah, and temptations will always be there.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's just getting better and better by the day. But I like what you also said about loneliness, because I think we also had Pastor Angie here the other day, and she also spoke on the importance of loneliness. And she was like, this new generation needs to stop fearing loneliness, because it's in that time that you spend alone that you discover and learn so much about yourself.
100%.
Yeah. So from the time your parents took you to hospital to now the time of going to the UK, did they still know that you're still engaging in your things?
So they did, but we kind of slowly built rapport with my mom. My dad was iron fist. Hey,
My way or the highway.
my way or the highway.
Yeah.
But my mom was saying this approach is not working.
Yeah.
We are losing him
Yeah.
when we act like this. So she almost kind of like used this UK thing as bait. So that you'll only go if you start cutting. Hey, see, I followed. And, 6 p.m., I'm at home.
Yeah.
I might have used it during the day,
Yeah.
but at least I'm living by structure.
Yeah.
And pole pole, that was incentivizing me to quit.
Yeah.
And I think even before leaving, I knew, one, I don't want to mess up my chances of ever going back to the UK.
Yeah.
That means I don't want to get in trouble when I'm there,
Yes.
because I don't want to get deported.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those kind of things. And I was just like, hey, let me play it safe. Of course, there, once in a while, you find, I don't know if your audience knows roaches, what roaches are.
Yeah.
Basically, almost the end of a joint, a weed joint.
Yeah.
And it still has life. So you would see it and you're like, but if I touch it, my auntie will smell.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Somehow that was God working in me. So that, yeah, slowly
As a young man, how's your journey of salvation been? Has there been days you've doubted your faith?
Oh yeah, definitely. You see, the concept of salvation is Jesus Christ died for our sake,
Yeah.
that if we believe in him, we will live and have everlasting life.
Yeah.
And in his risen self, it's like we surrender because he surrendered. He surrendered.
Yeah.
And it's a very selfless thing he's done for us. So giving up your life to him is literally that. And God is he's impractically practical. You see, you might reach a dead end
Yeah.
in life. And behind you, the Pharaoh's army is chasing you.
Yeah.
You're at the Red Sea. What does God do? Something so impractical.
Yeah.
He splits the sea.
See.
Like, you could do anything else, like out of your wildest imagination.
Yeah.
He does that.
Yeah.
And so it's coming to terms with that. And the friction is when you want things to happen your way.
Yeah.
You want things to happen at your time, at your pace.
Yeah.
It's all about you. That's whenever I have operated in such a sense, I've always struggled in my faith.
Yeah.
But when I've surrendered to him, I've seen him doing big things. Yeah.
But how do you stay on track when things don't go as planned? Because I get it. And when things don't go as planned, is of course it's based on your plan. You get,
Yes.
it's not based on God's plan. But how do you
Yeah.
stay on track?
Oh yeah. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I'd say, because what is the track? What is the path?
Yeah.
You know. I listened to this gentleman by the name of Myron Golden. He's a phenomenal person. I 100% recommend him to you to listen to him. He says this, that you can say that after this podcast, I'm going home. But what makes you know that you're going home? What makes you think that somewhere along the way something will happen that you don't get home?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of awareness that you need to operate in. Yes, there is this plan that I'm pursuing,
Yeah.
but along the way something might happen, a detour.
Yeah.
And you just have to adjust, because life throws you curveballs, whether you like it or not.
It's part of life.
And I think even the education system really lies to us, because they map out your career from the time you chose subjects in year 9
Yeah.
till the time you'll be a professional.
Yes.
In your 30s. They map out your career, and you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You don't know. Maybe your father might be like, no, I want you to run my business.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you've denied, but when the rubber meets the road, you're like, hey, and you need money.
Yeah.
You join him.
That's
and
true.
that becomes your career.
Yeah.
But you are a biologist, molecular biologist, gee what? You come
Yeah.
and start doing financials for his business.
Yeah.
Life, sticking to the path, depends on how you frame the path. Because life is a path.
Yeah.
That is the path. And the way the path moves is unpredictable. So what is it that you hold on to? You hold on to faith. You hold on to your ambition. You hold on to courage. Because courage will also determine whether you will go the full way or not. So those are the things I'd say are fundamental in me sticking to the path.
Yeah. And when you talk about those principles, is there any other faith principle that you have that guides your life and your business?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that guides everything, because especially, and I'll say this, entrepreneurship has been the most sanctifying journey I've been on in my whole life.
Yes.
Because there is what you want and what you hope for and what happens. Two different things.
Yeah.
You waste a lot of money, you waste a lot of time. I wouldn't call it wasting, actually. You spend
Yeah.
a lot of money, you spend a lot of time, and you get a lot of no results. If that is even a thing, a concept.
Yeah.
You get a lot of nothing
Yeah.
out of it. So you wonder, like, hey, it's not 2 + 2 is 4, or 1 + 1 is 2. It's not.
Yeah.
So with those circumstances and with those parameters, what do you do? And for me, it's just to surrender to God. I'll apply myself. I'll not demean what I do just because it's not availing, but I'll apply myself and trust God to do the rest.
Yeah.
That's my formula.
When you talk about entrepreneurship, what sparked your interest in entrepreneurship? First of all, what did you study in Riyadh, and then what sparked your interest in entrepreneurship?
So my entrepreneurial journey started, I'd say maybe even at 15,
Yeah.
where a friend of mine and myself, we wanted to start a movie shop in Kino.
Yeah.
And so we went to Kino, we checked out rent, everything.
Yeah.
And on our way back in town, one of these chokoras threatened to throw poop on us.
Yeah.
That was the end of the venture. We were intimidated. We said, hey, is business even worth getting into? You know? So that story died there.
Yeah.
But personally, I studied international relations and diplomacy at Riara. And I worked for some time. My first employment opportunity was at a pharmacy.
Okay.
Before that, I was doing actually hoodies, Christian apparel.
Okay.
But my parents were like, you know, we've put you through school. You know, you need to do something yamana.
Yeah.
You know? So I was doing that, Christian apparel. And in fact, I've revived the brand now.
Okay. What's the brand?
It used to be Full Armor Apparel.
Yeah.
Like put on the full armor of God.
Yeah.
But now it's Exalt, which really, as plainly and simply as it is, it's to exalt God.
Yes.
Yeah. Whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do it all to the glory of God. So yeah, that was there, and now I've revived it. Then I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for a year-long internship. I was excellent. I did everything perfectly, but perfectly is subjective.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who will find your work to be substandard, but I strongly stand by the fact that I did everything perfectly.
Yeah.
To my level best. And I really wanted to be absorbed, but the challenges with employment in this country, you know, it's a big gap. But I was like, you know what, kaeni, stay with your jobs.
Yeah.
I'll create one for myself and create others for others.
Wow.
You know, so that's why I started JHR Africa.
Okay.
And then through the struggles of running JHR Africa and not being supported by other people who are within the sector,
Yeah.
I now started YEC so that we can bridge the gap. And YEC is really a Youth in Extractives Consortium.
Okay.
We equip young people for the marketplace. We offer them employment opportunities. We give them spaces to innovate and create sustainable and scalable businesses in the mining and extractive sector. Okay. And of course, we expose them to networks within the industry so that they can glean from industry leaders, industry titans. So that's what I currently run really right now. Yeah.
No. I like that your hardships again you've turned into something, you know, and I like the fact that you've said, I missed a job, so I went out there to create jobs, you know. I like that because a lot of people sometimes beat themselves and say, I can't get a job, but they're doing nothing about it. You know, you're adding a problem to another problem instead of being a solution.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you said that I wasn't looking for anyone to provide me a solution. I knew the solution was within me, you know. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
When you look at it, what's been probably the toughest lesson you've learned in your entrepreneurial journey?
Hey. You know, business is a formula, it's science.
Yeah.
And there are many factors.
Some that you don't even see.
Things that you don't see.
Yeah.
But one thing that is constant, if you want to be in business, focus on solving problems. Not creating products for people that don't need them. Let me break it down. If my salary, assume I'm employed, is in the ranges of 100 to 200,000 Kenya shillings.
Only 18% or less on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you come to me and you're selling me a Samsung, or those low versions of the Samsung.
Yeah.
Or an Oppo.
Yeah.
I'll wonder, surely, why are you bringing this to me?
Yeah.
You should be talking iPhone 15 plus.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of mentality I went into business with. I came with a product and I'm like, buy it, you know, take it.
Yeah.
And the market did not want
Want it.
the product. They wanted the product, but not from me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And the other thing is to not look for sympathy from clients. Don't persuade your clients to buy from you because you need that sale. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. What will this thing do for me?
Yeah.
How will it benefit me?
Yeah.
So I'd say those are the most painful lessons I've learned after a lot of money poured in and a lot of time as well.
No, don't worry. I think I've learned similar lessons also as an entrepreneur. And even last year, we had something that we thought the market wanted and needed. But we did research. Research, everyone will always tell you what you want to hear.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when we went to the market,
It's a different
things
story.
were different.
Oh, yeah.
We realized that, okay, guys don't want this, And, we struggled. And so now we're in the point of restructuring and we want to see how that goes. When you look at it, probably what's been the most rewarding part about this tough journey of entrepreneurship?
I think the resilience that you build and the thick skin, because you look at obstacles you face along the way and you're like, I overcame that last year.
Yeah.
This is light. Let me continue pushing. And it's also the perspective you utilize or you have when you're going about business.
Yeah.
Power of the tongue. There's anxiety and there's anticipation. Both are strong feelings. But the outcomes are different.
Yeah.
With anxiety, you don't get your desired
Outcome.
With anticipation, you get it. And you have to not look at every situation with anxiety. In fact, if you can, don't have any anxiety. Even if things don't go your way, let it still be anticipation. Because you'll be like, okay, it's just this one. Let me just wait for the next one. If you walk with anxiety, you'll be like, this has happened last time. I'll not even try this next time. Yeah.
It makes sense. Anxiety and anticipation. Differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
Today, if Joshua lost everything, where would you start?
Hey, first of all,
Yeah.
What is everything? Because
Okay, in terms of business, if you lost everything, where would you start?
I think if there's one thing that seasons cannot take from you, is your intellect and your attitude. They can steal your networks, they can steal your reputation, they can steal your resources, but your intellect and your attitude is yours. No one can take that from you. So I've had ideas before. See, I'll have them again. I've done a business venture before. See, I can have one again. And I think our politicians are prime examples of people who have lost everything and reinvented themselves and started over. We talk of our Baba, prime example. Lost 5 times, now 6 with AU. But he's reinvented himself and he's back.
Yeah.
The amount of billions they poured into the elections, they lost it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone.
But they are back somehow.
Somehow.
So you just, no one will steal your intellect and your attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yours to keep.
So your character is so important in these things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
It's the only thing your seasons can't take from you.
Yeah. And in fact, when you are not influenced by the environment. Like when you don't allow your environment to dictate your identity.
Yeah.
That's a very important point. Your environment can label you. For example, I live in
Kenya, so you're a Kenyan.
yes, or somewhere more specific, I live in Kabete.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I do not have the mind of a billionaire?
No.
No. What we tend to allow is our environment dictates our identity. And you should never let that happen, because that will render you and keep you where you are. When I'm at my lowest of lows, I do what I can to avoid thinking that way, because that kind of thinking will keep you there. It will keep you where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't let your environment dictate your identity.
So during this time, for when you were going through this period of like drug addiction and substance abuse, yeah, was it a form of escapism or was it a form of just having fun?
It was eventually became having fun.
Yeah.
Initially, it was escapism.
Okay.
You see, environment again and identity.
Yes.
So I went to an international school.
Yeah.
In an international school, you have students who want to study internationally.
Yeah.
My parents were of the differing opinion.
Yeah.
You must start here. At least even if it's your first degree, start here.
Yeah.
That created tension and friction between me and my parents.
Yes.
And so in rebellion towards them, I was like, you know what? I'll not even work hard, because even if I work hard, there's no international school I'm going to, you know? So I decided, let me rebel.
Yeah.
Let me get myself into 1-2 things here and there. And that's how I found myself inside there. Of course, the institutions we go to also shape the person you become. Environment. You are in an environment where you must have this defining thing that marks you. You either must be top in class, you either must be top in sports, top in getting girls, you know,
Yeah.
for guys, or top looks,
Yeah.
quote unquote, for ladies. When you're in such an environment, it pushes you to find that thing. For me, I found that in drugs and substances. So now I redefine myself. The Josh who was in first year IB and the Josh who was in second year IB are two different people. Because now I said, let me give myself an identity that people won't take from me.
Yeah.
Essentially, I was giving myself an identity that I was taking from my own. Yeah.
That's why you came up with that motto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was why.
When you look at the whole process of drug addiction and substance abuse, what's something people don't understand it, but they really should?
Gosh, you can't do these things for fun.
Yeah.
Because you'll get hooked. And my goodness, it's an uphill battle. For me, it was a miracle.
Yeah.
How I came to quitting.
Yeah.
There are others who don't.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have, and this is the reality, we have a case of, in Kenya, our young people are so in love with sherehe. Like you don't sherehe, you don't do this, you don't bash, you don't. And where is it taking us?
Yeah.
Where is it taking our people? Because these are the same people whose parents will negotiate for them a job because they have connections.
Yeah.
In government or where else, but they'll be performing poorly. Maybe they don't even have the qualifications. By them, the moment time strikes like this, sherehe.
Yeah.
What we are doing is that we are lowering our standards of performance as a country, because it is people that run a nation. It's people that build a nation. And if we are becoming more and more mediocre about how we steward this great country, that's why we have people like our leaders in this country, because they have perpetuated these kind of habits
And places.
and places. Many of them own these clubs. Many of them want these young people to go to these clubs. You know? Many of them are profiting from the sale of these drugs. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're in government, in
Yeah.
high senior positions.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a really decayed system that we need to come out from. You don't just do these things for fun.
Yeah.
It's a sinkhole. And it's like a slide going down, but you can imagine climbing up a slide. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this problems why you are so passionate about community development? Or maybe I should rephrase my question. Why are you passionate about community
Why am
development?
I passionate about community development?
Yeah.
I like to say this. Our biggest problem as Kenyans is that we focus too much on our own problems.
Yeah.
We are too fixated on our own problems. And when we are fixated on our own problems, we don't solve problems that we are capable of solving. Someone in Kibra or Gidogoro, their problem might be getting bread for the day. Your problem might be whether you will choose your wedding venue to be Great Rift Valley Lodge or Sarova White Sands. But when you're too fixated about your problem, you don't sort out this person who is just looking for mkate. In fact, 10 or 1% of your wedding budget can feed this family for I don't know how long.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So we are too consumed about our own problems. We see it in the roads. Like a guy is turning left in 200 meters, but will he give you way?
No.
No. In fact, you will come close to this until you fold the side mirror even. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
We are too concerned. You see him turning nicely to a petrol station.
Yeah.
It's as if you going before him will delay him any further.
It won't delay any of you.
It won't delay any of you. We are too fixated about our own problems. Corruption is just that.
Yeah.
We think too much about our own problems.
About ourselves.
So with what I've done, like, and maybe you might be going there next with the project that I've done in Kajiado. County government has, and MPs, they have CDF,
Yeah.
County Development Fund,
Yeah.
to develop infrastructure and services and amenities that will benefit the public.
Yeah.
But they use these things like a political kind of tool.
Yeah.
You see, I have built for you a road, but it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's your role to do that.
Yeah.
Don't say that you see, I have built for you a road.
Yeah.
You know. And so I'll say that we fixate on our problems too much. A politician enters power to solve their own problems.
Have you been seeing of late on TikTok this thing they've been putting point of view for different politicians? Now it's a funny trend going on.
Oh, is it? I'm not on TikTok personally.
Oh, okay, that's crazy, bro. But yeah, like hiring my friend as the Minister of Sports because I used to beat him in FIFA. or telling the Chinese I need to build a road just to buy my boy another helicopter. So of late, for I think the last 1 week, people have been really bashing. There's this been, I think, called corrupt talk or something.
Yes.
Where they're just doing this point of views, and it's so funny, but it's actually so accurate as well.
Yes.
You know?
It's political satirism.
Yeah. So with you, when you look at it, if you had the chance to build a community, what would you do differently?
One, I would not go with me first.
Yeah.
Because the community will never be built if it's that way. You must focus on their needs and meet them at their points of need, whatever it takes. You know, it's when you have that responsibility of building a community, it is a duty to do so.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I look at it.
Okay. I saw the other day that you walked 72 kilometers. 72 kilometers. What inspired you to walk 72 kilometers, first of all?
Wow. 72 kilometers. When you say it, it's registering, and I'm just
72 kilometers is far.
it's far.
Yeah.
It's far. So when I started my first business, and with all the things just not going my way,
Yeah.
I said, what's this one thing I can do that success is purely on my hands?
Yeah.
Whether it succeeds or fails, it's purely on me.
Yeah.
You don't have that privilege in business, by the way.
Yeah, you don't.
Hey, you can wait on people. Hey, boss, kumenda aje?
Yeah.
Kimeumana.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I had enough of that. And I was like, I want to do something that success will purely rely on me. And initially, I wanted to do it to one of our potential clients, for one of our potential clients. I would walk to their factory and be like, you see, I can do this work. This is the lengths to which I'll go to offer value.
Yeah.
Bold, but senseless.
Yeah.
I had advice from my mentors, and they told me, you know, Josh, this thing can actually do more for people if you were to adjust it to this. I was like, And more so, you will get more support from people. Because who will support you to prove a point to one of your clients? Does not make sense. But people will support you, one, in an extreme endeavor to build a community.
Yeah.
So I went searching, and I went deep into the Ma community to a place called Il Polosat in Kajiado County.
Yeah.
For context, it's 2 hours. The route we used took us 2 hours to get to the school, off-road. Yani from Isinya, it took us almost 2 hours crisscrossing. And that time was the time where we had the rains and stuff and a lot of flooding.
Yeah.
So some of the roads were closed, blocked completely. So you had to navigate.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the process, we saw wildlife.
Yeah.
Felt like we were on a safari.
Yeah.
In the process, you had to push the car.
Yeah.
But eventually, we got to Il Polosat Primary School.
Yeah.
In fact, we were looking for the dispensary. And when we got there was no one. We went to the kiosk next to it, and they told us, check in the primary school. They might know about the dispensary. We went to the primary school, and we told the headmistress at the time why we came. And as we were telling her, could see her face lighting up.
Yeah.
As if we are like an answered prayer.
Prayer.
You know? And we talked like this, and I was like, I think I made my mind. We'll do the project here. And they told us one of the real needs is staff housing. The teachers, they're not even in a room as big as this, maybe a bit smaller. 9 of them. These are men, grown ladies who have families. The level of dignity is so low.
Yeah.
It's so low. It's flat completely to the ground, with the way the house was constructed. So when water comes, it just comes nicely through the house, goes to the other side.
Yeah.
Anything that's on the floor is carried.
Wow.
You find soot, you find matope, deplorable conditions. So we're like, we'll build staff quarters here. How? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And we'll use this trek, this walk. In fact, we called it a trek. And we named it the Whatever It Takes trek.
Yeah.
Meaning we'll do whatever it takes to ensure we not only complete the trek, but we complete the project. So that was how that thing took shape. And you have to train. You can't just decide today you'll walk 72 kilometers.
Yeah.
Mind you, it was in one day.
Yeah.
72 km in one day.
Yeah.
So I trained. My trainings, so I told you I live in Ridgeways. I would walk from Ridgeways to, using Outer Ring Road, I'd get to Syokimau. Come back up Mombasa Road, through town, Thika Road, Kiambu Road, back home.
Wow.
I would go to Karen,
Yeah.
Galleria Mall.
Yeah.
Town, I would pass it and, midpoint. You know, people are thinking, even walking to town is crazy.
Yeah.
And I document, by the way. They're all on my Instagram.
Yeah.
The videos, and I tell stories. It was such a beautiful time just to learn. I learned so much about life through that. Yeah.
What's the most important thing you think that whole experience taught you about life?
It's just the way life is a journey.
Yeah.
The walking is a journey. Life is also a journey.
Yeah.
And enjoy the process. Capture it. Because surely the journey will come to an end.
Yeah.
And same too with our lives. It will come to an end. So enjoy the process. Capture moments in the process. You know, showcase your life. Showcase what you're doing. Yeah, I think that's one really fundamental experience I picked, yeah.
And to think about it, how was that day? Tell us now about the day. So you woke up at what time?
Yes.
You got walking at what time? You walked until what time? Yeah.
So I barely slept, actually. I slept at around 10 the night before, because I was still facilitating security in the early morning, because you're a group walking where in the middle of the night, you'll be shikwad, all of you. You'll be arrested.
Yeah.
So I had to facilitate security, and by the time that was happening, it was already past, 10 p.m. around there.
Yeah.
But I woke up at about 1:32
Yeah.
a.m. because we were going to kickstart at 4.
Yeah.
4 in the morning. My target was to do it within 24 hours. So I was like, give or take, I need to start early so that I'm not also finishing too late.
Yeah.
I want to maximize the time of sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time that I have sunlight, because it was darkness to darkness, the walk. So got ready, got prepared to walk. By about 3:30, I was at the starting point.
Where was the starting point?
Our church, Ridgeways Baptist Church.
Okay.
And we had a fellowship prayers. The senior pastor of the church came.
Yeah.
Reverend Elijah Wanje. My dad was there. My mom wasn't there. She was abroad at that moment. But she was with me on call. It was a very supportive moment.
Yeah.
And we took off.
Yeah.
4:20 a.m. Yeah. And we started, we walked. By about 9:30, we were reaching Syokimau.
Yeah.
Where we took our tea break. And just to see the team ready to go and just charged, and really just encouraged me.
Yeah.
Of course, And that was just the principle of, if you want to walk fast, go alone. If you want to walk far, go with others. Go with many.
Yeah.
These people really helped me complete that walk.
Yeah.
So we progressed and we reached Kitengela after that, because we were reaching Isinya.
Yeah.
That was the 72-kilometer mark. And about 10 hours in, 50 kilometers done, we took a break. We stretched and all that, lunch. At this point, people were dropping in numbers.
Yeah. I get it, hey, bro. I've reached you good.
See, you're good. You
Yeah.
know. And it reached a point, maybe after 10 more kilometers,
Yeah.
at around 60 kilometers, I was all alone. Yeah. I was alone, and now it was locking in.
Yeah.
But thankfully, a team joined me at around the 68th kilometer mark,
Yeah.
and they walked with me. Now a team of fresh legs.
Yeah.
You know, you need pace setters. You need people who will just, you know,
Yeah.
you need people to walk with you.
Yeah.
This life, you can't do it on your own. You need to walk with people.
Yeah.
And so I reached eventually at 7:20, so 15 hours.
Yeah.
And when I stopped, all the pain I had been holding in just came like a flood. So there's this cognitive bias known as habituation, where if, like, for example, you live under a mabati roof and you hear a raindrop, ta, 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 after a while, you'll not hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Because you get used to it. That was what I was doing with the pain. So my legs, the friction had literally cut skin, cut flesh in between my legs.
Yeah.
Blisters had formed until it wasn't even a blister. It was like a blood clot.
Yeah.
On my heel. When I stopped, it was the most amount of pain I felt. I felt pain even until my ears, everywhere in my body.
Yeah.
But it was also the most fulfilling moment in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe it.
Wow. Yeah. No, congratulations, man. That
Thank
is
you.
crazy. 72 kilometers in one day.
In one day.
That is mad. Yeah. Along the way, did you ever have a moment where you thought, damn, Josh, what have I put myself in?
Funny enough, no. Because by the time, through my training, in training I had trained up to close to almost 400 kilometers, 350 there in training, leading up to the trek. So I had tried to do, my longest training was 45 kilometers.
Wow.
It's still probably about 30 off the mark.
Yes.
That I was targeting.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I can reach halfway of that, over halfway, then I can survive to push myself maybe another half. So actually the point where I felt like I was quitting was when I could see the end. I could see the end and I was just like, hey, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm actually done. And when people start to talk to you, you can't talk to anyone actually.
Yeah.
Hey, much as you need the company,
Yeah.
you can't talk, because when you talk, you start thinking, and you need to stop thinking when you do such a thing.
Did it show you the power of your mind?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible.
Okay.
It made me become a person of high agency, meaning like anything I set my mind to, I can accomplish.
Yeah.
Anything. So mindset 100. Yeah.
So before we get to the rapid section, the kick it section, I don't know if I missed to ask you anything.
Maybe whether I'm dating or not.
No, but you said your fiance.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mentioned, yeah?
Yes, in the start.
Yes, I am.
And thank you for bringing your wonderful lady to the studio with
Yes.
you. Shout out to her. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm engaged,
Yes.
looking to marry,
Yeah.
and I think it is a great thing
Yeah.
when you have a partner in your life
Yeah.
who you can trust
Yeah.
with your life.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our generation are not looking for that.
Yeah. People are running away from marriage.
People are running away from marriage, and I think it's a thing of you attract who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're the kind of person who holds that kind of value for running away from things,
Yeah.
you'll attract someone who will run away from things, and eventually you'll both run away from whatever it is that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have. But when you attract someone who believes that it must work, it will work, and there's no door out,
Yeah.
yeah, you get that person, and you walk with them, and they build you. And I feel like a man's purpose is not complete without a wife.
Wow.
You will never walk fully in your purpose without the wife, because they've been placed in your life to be your helper,
Yeah.
to actualize the God-given vision that you have over your life, the God-given purpose. They facilitate it, like birth. They incubate the vision.
Yeah.
It stays with them. They nurture it. They grow it until it comes to full maturity.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage us.
Yeah. To get married.
It's a beautiful thing. Marriage works. We hear it doesn't work from the Dandoras of marriages, the Dandora dumping sites of marriages.
Yeah.
Those are the loudest voices who talk about marriage doesn't work.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into marriage yet, but those are the loudest voices. Listen to those voices of people whose marriages have succeeded.
Wow. Yeah. So to the kick it section, question 1: what's a quote or verse you live by?
Oh, maybe my fiance can help me. What do I live by? What do you know? Yes. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness,
Yeah.
and all other things shall be added unto you.
Wow.
All other things. You see, you must look at the seeking part as a reward,
Yes.
not as a point of labor. Because when people look at it as a point of labor, they're like, okay, God, I've done it. I've sought you. Where's the all other things?
Yeah.
The all other things is like the sprinkles on the top of the ice cream.
Yeah.
It's the cherry on top of the ice cream.
Yeah.
The beauty of seeking God is living a life like no other.
Yeah.
Fulfillment at its peak.
Yeah.
At its peak completely. And pursue that.
If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Dinner is on dead. One person.
Yeah, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I'd say Myron Golden.
Yeah.
Myron Golden.
Yes.
He's alive, very much alive. Myron, if you ever watch this, just know I want to have dinner with you.
Yeah.
He's my mentor.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from that man.
Yeah.
He's a grandfather, father, an entrepreneur, a visionary.
Yeah.
Someone who has mastered the art of speaking, selling, and living for God.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the hardest decision you think you've had to make?
In my life?
Yeah.
I would say possibly choosing to be who I am.
Yeah.
you have so many people trying to dictate your life and say, no, you must go to school, or you must be this, or you must fit this type of way, or you must think this way. It's a decision you make every day. So it's not a one-time decision. To follow your purpose uniquely and relentlessly is one of the hardest things you do, but also one of the most rewarding.
Okay.
Yeah.
What advice would you give the 18-year-old Josh if you had a chance to talk to him?
I'd say life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. And that is not to insinuate that life is without problems. The problems shape who you are and who you end up becoming. So everything about it is really how you choose to look at it.
Okay.
You can choose to look at life as a death sentence. You can choose to look at life as the most miserable thing because of what you're facing. And the truth of the matter is, we have gone through a lot, all of us. But you can still, think of it this way. You cannot control what happens, the environment.
Yeah.
But you can control your reaction to it. Choose to see life as something that is beautiful, that is God-given, that is for living out fully, not being paralyzed by fear or anxiety or depression. Because a lot of the time is because of the thoughts we've chosen to hold so firmly that are lies. Myron Golden says identities.
Yeah.
You assumed an identity that is not you, that is a lie.
Yeah.
So choose to see the beauty in life, yeah.
Okay. As we wrap this conversation, any last words?
Wow. Aside from saying thank you for having me, I'd say there is no harm whatsoever in choosing to follow your own path. And why I say there is no harm is because to follow your own path means that you face challenges. I don't want to look at those challenges as harm. The harm will come when you live with regret of not pursuing what you desire.
Yeah.
Regret is not something you want to live with. When you're 65 or 70 and you cannot pursue the dreams that you wanted to pursue, all because someone told you you must live your life this way and that way, that is the real harm. So there's no harm at all in pursuing your dreams, your goals, your career, your passions, your vision, the God-given vision within you. There's no harm at all. Pursue.
Bro, thank you so much for gracing our invite. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, Thank you so much for being vulnerable, People go through certain things but are not willing to share. So we really appreciate that you've shared that. And we just want to send blessings your way in everything that you do. Receive these blessings, May God bless you and bless your family.
Amen.
And we look forward to your wedding.
Amen.
Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. For those of you tuning in from home, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Just to Kick It is a Blessing podcast. Remember that no matter where you are, no matter what you go through, just to kick it is truly a blessing. Goodbye and see you next week.
It's a brand new day. If a hater come, we are letting you stay. If a demon come for the boomer.